here, the Frugal Crafter. This morning I had a great idea. We're all thinking about storage and organizing and everything because it's the beginning of a new year, and I thought, what if I took a space that I wasn't using for anything and I made it so I could take all of the stuff that's cluttering up my desk and put it there so I could reach it when I wanted it, put it back when I didn't want it, make it really easy to access, and make it from stuff I already have. So I decided I'm gonna make a Velcro wall here on the edge of this case. This case was recycled from an old general store. They were going out of business and they got rid of it, and it's basically like a guns and ammo case. So it only has like a 1 by 2 foot footprint, but it holds tons and tons of supplies, and I really like it. But I've got this edge here that I'm not doing anything with, and it's not butted up against anything, so I figured I can make a storage wall with it. Now I'm going to be using supplies from our sponsor Papermart. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. I'm going to be using these as some of the storage containers on my wall because they're really sturdy and light. I'm also going to use some of these clear pails because right now I have a lot of my pencils and pens in glass mason jars, but they're kind of heavy. I want to make sure I'm not going to add too much additional weight to my wall. I'm going to be using some Papermart Velcro, which is super duper strong and super duper cheap, so I love it, and some craft store felt, which is also cheap. I think you can find this at any craft store for about 30 cents a sheet, and we're going to use 3 sheets for this. Of course, you could buy felt by the yard if you wanted to have a seamless design. So without further ado, let's make our Velcro wall. The first thing I need to do is make a template for my felt. So I'm just going to hold this up here, and I think I'm actually going to bring it down a little bit lower because I'm thinking about putting a hook here to hold my crocodile. So I just want to give that a little bit of space for that. And I'm going to fold my felt up against the edge and then use a piece of chalk just to give me a very light line that I can cut against. I'm going to use hot glue to put my shelf together because I love hot glue. You could use a different adhesive if you want to. Just keep in mind that if you're not using hot glue, you've got to make sure you leave plenty of time for it to dry. So I'm just lining that up at the bottom. I'm going to do a nice strong bead of glue there. I feel like I could totally use an extra set of hands here. Once you get it tacked in place though, you can go back and keep adding more glue. You really want this stuck well. I get asked a lot about the hot glue gun that I use. I use a couple, both are by Surebonder. I just find that their glue guns last a lot longer and it puts up with the grief that I give it. I also prefer glue guns that take the larger sticks rather than the mini sticks just because I feel like they're a better value as far as like the big sticks seem to cost the same as the minis, and you get so much more glue. And they also heat your glue sticks up faster, so if you're doing a lot of big projects, you'll find it much nicer to work with. And there we go. And we're going to repeat this step for these other 2 sections. If you're doing a straight bookcase, you probably want to buy yard goods, but just whatever you're making your Velcro wall on, just keep piecing your felt together until you have it all covered. Okay, now I have my panel secured firmly to the edge of my bookshelf, or gun and ammo case, as the case may be. And the first thing I wanted to make sure I had on this was my ATG gun. Now I love this thing. I buy refills by the hundred, so it's very economical. But the thing is, this is kind of big and it takes up a lot of space on my desk, so I don't really want that on my tiny upstairs craft desk. So what I'm going to do is actually take some of this Papermart Velcro and glue it here on the back side over the well, it's over the brand name, but that's alright because that's the most sticky outy part of the gun. So I'm just going to use my hot glue gun to put a bead of glue on there, and then I'm going to stick my Velcro in. This is sew on Velcro, so you will need some adhesive. I have been really pleased with this. I've been using this Velcro for a couple of years, and I think it's under $3 for like, it's a lot. I can't remember what's on a roll because my roll is downstairs, but you do get the hook and the loop side. I'm only using the hook side here though because I've got this felt, and you want to make sure you test your Velcro to your felt to make sure it's going to work before you go through all this trouble. Alright, now that glue is dry, let's see if it sticks. Great, and then I can move this around until I decide exactly how I want, and I like that I don't have any like fuzzies from the felt on my Velcro, because sometimes when that happens, the Velcro loses its stick, but at least if that does happen, it hasn't here, but if it does, then you can always peel this off and add more. It's really easy. Now the other thing I wanted to do was try these little cans here, because I thought these would be really handy for pencils and whatnot. So again, I'm going to take another strip of Velcro, and just cut it, and I'm just cutting it with my regular scissors, the same scissors I cut the felt with. They're not fabric scissors, they're just regular office shears. And again, this time I'm going to put the hot glue on the Velcro because I'm afraid that this clear can might melt because it is a thin plastic. And I'll have to test it to see if it will hold my pencils. If it doesn't, then I'll use it for like pom-poms or other, you know, little lighter weight embellishments. So you just want to stick it on there. And you might not even need a full strip like that, but since I do plan on maybe putting pencils or pens in here, I want to make sure it's going to be strong enough. So yep, that'll hold. I'm a little worried because it's on a round surface. It might not be the best. You have to really want to make sure you wiggle it on there just in case. And again, I'm not 100% sure I'm going to keep that or not, but oh, my glue isn't dry either. If you don't let your glue dry, your Velcro will stick and your can will not. So if you're not using hot glue and you're using like an E6000 or something, just give it plenty of time to dry. I'm going to think about this one. Something I know I want to use are these bins here, because I can take out some dividers and I could put like cards that I'm waiting to package and put in my shop, or I can have all the dividers in and use it for drawing tools, pencils, whatever I want. I think these might be a better solution than the jars actually. So what I'm going to do here is put a strip, or maybe even two, of Velcro along this edge. You just want to make sure you get a really nice amount of space where it's going to contact with the shelf. I'll start getting that in there before I put the rest of the glue on so it doesn't have a chance to dry on me. I'm really not thinking the pails are going to be a winner. I think I'm actually going to get a little bit more use if I use the boxes, because like square footage wise, I'll get a lot more storage. I'll try it with one strip of Velcro and I'll see if I need another, but I'm definitely going to give this a few minutes to dry before I stick it on my shelf. Another thing I think would be really useful for this would be to use these like little plastic zip top bags. Sometimes you get them with cosmetics or with bath and body projects, especially around Christmas time when you get the gift sets. A lot of times there'll be these little cosmetic bags. This one happens to be a sewing kit, but this is so light it would stick really well just by putting a little bit of Velcro on the back. And again, what I do with this would be the same thing I did with my bucket that I re-glued the Velcro on. I would put the glue on the Velcro and then put it on there because that is just like a vinyl pouch. But I think any of these soft vinyl zipper pouches would be perfect to use on the Velcro wall. Just to be safe, I ended up putting an extra strip of Velcro on my boxes. I figured that will just give me a little bit of extra stability if I want to load it up a little heavier. Now let's put these on the shelf and see how it works. So when I put this on, I'm definitely going to want to give it a little bit of a wiggle to make sure it really catches that Velcro. But it's pretty sturdy. I'll probably end up moving these down because the base of this is a little bit wider, so I'd have a little more connection, but I just want to show you kind of how I would load it up. I really wanted to have a hook that I could hang my crocodile on, but this is such a hard, I don't know, plywood, whatever it's made of is really difficult to drill into. So for now, I think I'm just going to put that in there, and then I can add, you know, all the other little odds and ends that are totally taking over my table and driving me nuts. So I've got my little sewing kit there for if I need to mend something. I've got my ATG. It's all going to stick really nicely on my board. And even our little, this little thing, let's try this up here so you can see. And I'll show you when it's all put together and organized, how it looks. Okay, so I'm just kind of crouching down here on the floor to show you what I've put on here. Obviously, I have a little more room for things, and quite frankly, I will probably abandon this idea. I'm just worried. I mean, with a few plastic markers, it's fine. If I was gonna keep pom-poms in that, it would be fine. I'm just a little worried about using that for pens, just because it being a round surface, it's not gonna get as much contact with the Velcro as like a flat surface like that or the boxes. So maybe kind of stick to square containers containers or containers with a flat edge when you're doing that. These Velcro bags seem to be just fine though. I would definitely be on the lookout for more of those, maybe at the dollar stores or whatnot, or any sort of flat tins. These boxes were great. They seem to be plenty sturdy on there with those 2 strips of Velcro, but I do have watercolor pencils in there and other things. So the thing to be concerned with, you just want to make sure it's on there good before you put any sort of pencils in there, just because they tend to be heavy, and if they were to fall, then the leads on the insides of the pencils could break, and that could make you cry, because then when you sharpen them, they'd be breaking, and that would be a pain in the butt. But I like this, that I could actually take the whole box off and go over to my table and be able to work. So now my table's nice and cleaned off. I have all that space because I got all my crap onto the Velcro wall here. And I'll give you a really quick tour of my upstairs working area, since I don't think I've shown you that before. I think I might have showed you guys on Instagram, but there's my table. Under my table, a little quick storage idea was I took a bungee cord and I stretched it between the 2 table angle support things, and then I just put paper towels, masking tape, and Gorilla Tape there. I have a little basket for my trimmers, paper, envelope maker, blotter paper. It's just handy to be able to reach down for that. I've got 2 lights on either side of my table. I only have 1 umbrella up because I can't put the umbrella on the other one. It's too close to the wall. And I've got a stick supported by the ceiling. I tried using some Gorilla Tape up there and I peeled off some paint, so hopefully my husband doesn't notice that. And I have a shelf in front of my table that I have white paper on that I use when I'm taking photos of my artwork, of my cards and whatnot, and the rest of the time my computer's there and I can be looking at reference photos or watching stuff while I create. And the water bucket always stays on my table, and it's actually fairly clean at the moment, so that's kind of cool. And this of course is the guns and ammo box I showed you before that holds all of my kind of duplicate supplies that I use upstairs, and then I've got my markers and planner and other stuff right there. Now all the other storage in this room is office related and not art related, but I definitely have plenty of stuff to use right here in this little corner of my office so I can create in warmth in the wintertime. Well there, I hope you enjoyed this little craft studio tour slash Velcro wall DIY, and I hope it inspires you to get some of your craft supplies organized. And I'd love to hear your favorite tips in the comments below. Let me know your best ideas for storing craft supplies in a small space. That way we can all help each other and everybody can benefit from your knowledge as well. I want to thank our sponsor Papermart for sponsoring today's video. You can find the Velcro, the boxes, the cans, and other supplies that will make organizing so much easier for you this year. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. Packaging for less. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.